it was always him with the camera, you know, because like they have the camera and then they're saying funny stuff and they're like, oh, do this. And what did Santa get you? And wow. Okay. Yeah. Just let me know who I make the checkout to and I'll see you next week at the same time.
Welcome back to No Substitutes, the show where I have on some of my favorite people and we talk about what ingredients make them who they are. In this week, I have a very special guest. He is a very talented writer, director, filmmaker, and I've had the pleasure actually now twice to work with him. Please welcome Jeffrey John Hart. Yay.
Thanks for having me.
Yay. How are you?
I'm good. I'm excited to be here.
Yay. Good.
We tried to do this 2 other times and
I know.
scheduling conflicts.
Yeah.
Conflicts. Yeah.
I know. That
Writer,
was
not a
also-
speaker.
The last time it was my bad, but we made it. We got it here. So, but yeah, let's see. Well, how's Shadow?
She's good. She's at home right now. We had kickball last night. So she loves kickball because then she gets to, so I've played kickball and like a bunch of adults and we take it very seriously.
I love that.
That's how I've got this massive bruise on my knee sliding into home.
Oh, shit.
I made it. So she goes to that with me. And then in between games, she runs around the field and everyone knows her. There's like 200 players in the league. It's the Hollywood League.
Oh,
it's
my.
absolutely the best. So today she's probably going to be sleeping most of the day.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's get into it.
Let's do it.
Mm-hmm. What would you say are 3 ingredients you need for your profession?
3 ingredients for my profession. Mm-hmm. Should I say the 3 I joked about? No, I wouldn't say those. I'm sure you can imagine what those were. So
Right.
For my profession, I think the 3 ingredients would be professionalism, right? Because it's very easy to like not be professional, and it's
Right.
very easy to, kind of just screw that up. And that's like a basic one, just be professional.
Yeah.
The second one would be trust your imagination and trust your creativity.
I love that one.
Right. And then trust that you've made it this far in life, right? Like just go with it. And then the third would be, this is kind of a hard one, but let me see. I want to say this without sounding like a complete butt, because I can't use profanity, so I'll say complete butthead.
Okay.
Knowing when and who to take criticism or opinions from, right? So one thing that happens, and this doesn't really happen on like larger sets, and definitely not on my sets, as you know, but too many cooks in the kitchen where people will start to throw in opinions or start to throw in ideas or what if we do this or do that. And like, obviously if I'm doing something, we're working together and you're like, Jeff, what if I'm going to listen, right? I might not take it, but I'm going to listen. Yeah. If Holly says it, right? Pretty much anyone on my specific crew, the people that I hire, like they're there because I trust their opinion. So for the most part, they know when they should give their opinion if they have something. But there's a lot of times where you'll hear something from someone and you're like, why are you talking?
Right.
Like, no, I don't need you to explain to me why this is this. I don't know if that came across as very arrogant, but
I mean, like you said, sometimes there are those people, though, that just kind of want to have an opinion.
right.
And sometimes you got to shut it down.
100%. I say to my team all the time, I'm like, listen, if this is a mistake, if I screw this up, it falls on me. If it's a success, it falls on me. So let me do it.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. I'm trying to think as a female talent, what would it look like if a male talent tried to be like, you should do this? And then I'm like, I feel like they would get slapped. I'm like, wow, that's like the one person that probably should never share their opinion.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, so you used to direct or work in mainstream before, transitioning over to
Transitioning
over to more adult stuff.
Sure.
How was that? Like,
So I'm still actually pretty heavily in mainstream. Mainstream is, I would say, probably 50% or more of what I do. I came out here in 2010 and I started interning for a director and his commercial production company, and then worked on a bunch of feature films as like a set PA, and just I got a lot of access to some like massive directors and cinematographers, and got to kind of learn firsthand how they do things, the decisions they make. And the coolest thing was had access to a lot of these companies will have what's called like a vault, right? And the vault is all the dailies of everything that was shot. So I would spend as much time as I could just like scrubbing through this stuff. And the first director I worked for, he shot an absurd amount of Victoria's Secret stuff. Like all the Victoria's Secret stuff we grew up watching, he shot. Wow. So they had all the dailies on like DVDs, and I'm just like watching through and seeing how they did it. So that was kind of cool. That prepared me for when I got into adult. But I did a lot of commercials, did a lot of movies, a lot of live broadcast stuff, live racing. I still do a lot of the racing. It was pretty cool. And then coming into adult, like a lot of that stuff, it was copy and paste, right? It's the same thing. I think the biggest thing is like learn like camera and lighting and all that. That's all great, but the biggest thing is like story and a character, and like we either want to see the character win or we want to see the character fail. But at the end of the day, we want something, and that carries to anything, right? Whether it's a TikTok or a movie. Right, mainstream or
Hero's Journey.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I like that.
Now I can't watch any movie without my mind just going there. Every time there's conflict, I'm like, oh, this is the part where they break up, and then he has to redeem himself, and then he becomes the man he actually is.
100%.
I'm like,
the formula is pretty straightforward.
That's literally how I watch movies now. It's upsetting.
It's
I wish I could just get lost in movies, but when I watch movies, I just think about how many takes was that? Or like what's life on set like for that movie?
It's hard to like turn that part of your brain off.
Yeah, because but the thing is, like, especially working on sets like yours, it's just, that's where I feel like I belong.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to do, nudity and stuff anymore like that. Well, at least hardcore stuff like that.
Right.
If it's tasteful, it's fine, but I love like getting to do acting and being on sets and getting to watch my friends act and, going over lines.
Well, that's what like makes it that much better is when, and it's interesting with adult, sure you can just have like a 5-minute intro and then a scene and it's like, okay, whatever. But when you have like that whole story build up, right? Like Hopeless to me is, I don't know if I'll ever be more proud of anything I've ever done because like the buildup was so great. And I know we joked about like teasing the audience so many times, which we did. But when, you guys were in the kitchen and you're making breakfast and then like you guys finally came together, it was like, you're like almost a tear, like a slow clap kind of situation. Right. And then as like an audience member, you're like, oh wait, this isn't like an A24 movie.
Right.
Not that I'm saying it's an A24 movie, but you know what I mean? Like,
especially because we saved the dirty stuff for literally the end. So people can get emotional and then they can get the tissues for both things.
From sad tissues to happy tissues.
Yeah, exactly. That's the kind of movie Hopeless.
Yeah. But I think that having the build up be that much better, the payoff is going to be that much stronger, right?
Yeah, no, for sure. And I remember because you gave us the choice to do trade. So when it came out on OnlyFans and stuff, like it was so interesting it was nice, the amount of fans that were like, whoa, this is like really beautiful.
Yeah.
And like, I didn't know you could like act like that. And you and Casey have this amazing chemistry, and it was like actual movie reviews.
It was fantastic. I mean, there's the one part where the ice cream, if you remember, and I like had you throw them away first, and I was like, oh wait, actually, I need another shot of that.
Yeah.
Amber, go buy more ice cream. She was so mad. She's like, I'm getting a glass of wine. And I was you've earned it. Thank you.
You've earned it.
But like that little moment was fun. And then I was actually rewatching it the other day because we have now distribution with a company that will hopefully do something with it for us.
Yeah.
But the scene where Casey's like, I forget exactly what she says, but it's on the beach. She's just chased you down, and she's like, "What do you mean? What do you mean?" And like, why? And then you look at her, and you're just like, and like the look on your face, it gets me every time. And you're like, you know why? and then the camera pans from you quickly to Casey's face as you both sit down, and then the camera swings around all in one shot. I don't know how I didn't blow the focus. And then obviously sound and lighting. There was like 8 people with us, and everyone's like gathered around us in this like one shot. Sit down, and then the two of you go off on this exchange for almost 2 minutes, and the camera doesn't cut, and you guys don't break character. Your pauses are natural, everything about it. And like that same thing happened in the kitchen. It happened over and over again. But that specific moment on the beach, I remember sitting there and being like, because, you know, you have this idea in your head, right? You write this and you're like, oh, they're going to run and she's going to chase her. They're going to have this like very intense conversation. And then you get on set and you're like, that was nothing what I imagined. This this would like surpassed what I imagined. And the looks that you guys gave each other back and forth, and just the timing and everything about it, as like the writer and the filmmaker, I'm sitting there watching it live, and I'm watching in the edit, and I'm constantly just like forgetting, right? And it's like you forget, and I'm like, oh, I'm supposed to pull focus, or oh, I'm supposed to, right? And I remember we did another take from the other angle, and I was like, oh, I'll cut back and forth, and then I got into it, and I was like, no way, like just let it ride. And I've been chasing, like ever since that shot, I've been, in everything I do, I've been chasing that feeling, that moment of like realism and vulnerability that you two gave. Outstanding an actor.
Thank
both
you.
of you.
I feel like for me, I just have this brand of autism where I've watched movies my whole life, and that's why I pay attention to.
Right.
Like, I don't know. I never thought that I would do acting like that, but I pay attention to me, what a good actor is someone who knows when to do their lines, how to deliver their lines. So that's like something I've always paid attention to.
So acting is actually just like reacting.
Right.
So before I was filming, I acted. I know this body doesn't look like it, but I was like a young runway model, fashion model for like Saks Fifth Avenue and stuff. And then I acted all through middle school, high school, into college. Eventually had an acting teacher / director who I was like, you are incompetent and I could do a better job. And then like I just switched. And then I was always into cameras and stuff, and then kind of got to the camera stuff. But yeah, I mean, a lot of acting isn't just waiting to say the line, right? It's like, that's actually like a terrible way to act, but it's what you're doing while the other person's talking. It's how you're reacting. You're not like waiting. I'm terrible at this, right? When you're having a conversation with someone and you're like, they're talking, you're like, okay, go ahead, because I want to say something. I probably, if you guys are watching, it's like, I'm doing this now. I'm terrible at it. And I'm like, as soon as she's done talking, I want to say what I want to say. But the thing about acting is, it's like, well, what are you doing while they're talking? And that is why your role in Hopeless was so authentic. That is why I was like, I want to give Lumi a 3.5 minute monologue where in Broken Butterfly, where Jules literally just goes, so what is she says one line, right? She's like, so what is the meaning? Or like, what is it all about? And like, that was it. And the whole rest of it was just 3 minutes of you just going. And you're like reacting to yourself, right? Like you're because she's not talking, so you have no one to work off of in that situation. Obviously with like Casey, you're working off of her, but it's the little eye looks. It's the, when Cody calls her on the phone and you guys are sitting next to each other on the pier and you're all happy, and then you kind of like bite your lip and you're like, so, are you going to answer it? And it's just that to me is what like sells. And I think that more people should take a breath and really pay attention to their scene partner to kind of understand their motivation and put themselves in their shoes so that way like the audience sees that on their face, if that makes sense.
No, that's a really good tip. I was just remembering the first thing we ever worked on together.
So that's why I hired you.
Because I improvised this whole scene with
It was
Cody.
great. And same thing with Cody. I was like, man, and I'd worked with Cody before, but okay, so we were on a set. It was
for an adult set.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we were working with someone that I don't work with anymore, but there wasn't that much organization on that set.
Yeah.
So when we got there, it was like, all right, well, what's the scene? And it was like, well, I don't know. What if you just da-da-da-da? And then it turned into, okay, well, just improv it. Like you come in, XYZ, and then, you know, you get to the end. And like, that was it. That was your direction. And I remember sitting there and thinking to myself, that is zero direction. And like negative zero direction.
Yeah.
And you guys just did it. And once again, I found myself in a situation where it was like a long take. And I'm like, please don't mess up focus. Please don't mess up focus.
Because it was, they were like, let's just run it, like see what you came up with. And then they're like, no, this is too good. So you grab the camera.
I was like, let's just hit it.
Yeah. You're like, no, we don't need to rehearse this.
But yeah, you just completely improv'd it, and so did Cody. And, you know, there's a bunch of little moments like that where I've like picked up on something and been like, okay, this person's on my short list. And then it's like, I want to work with them, because I think that's a very important trait to have, especially considering the constraints we have on these sets where like time is not enough of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember that day, and I remember being like, man, they're great.
They're great.
Yeah, I got very lucky.
Well, more things are coming. So stick around, people. What is your go-to meal when you're editing?
Oh,
because I feel like you lock yourself away for like
months.
days.
Months. It's atrocious. Probably this is bad, but probably just like chicken fingers and French fries or something, right?
Right.
Chicken nuggets,
just something to munch on while you're going.
and then like a lot of like
Nothing that you have
Cheez-Its.
to like sit and think about eating.
Right.
Just
but like Cheez-Its, lots of Cheez-Its.
Cheez-Its,
like
okay.
too many Cheez-Its.
oh
Like not healthy amount of Cheez-Its.
no, man, Cheez-Its. There's like organic brands now too, so
I have no excuse.
yeah, like
go to-
Trader Joe's probably has some bland version of Cheez-Its, but
I go to Rouse and I'm like, excuse me, sir, where are literally the worst things I can put in my body? And they're like, right here, sir, Cheez-Its. And I'm like, thank you.
Cheez-Its.
I will
Thank
take
you.
those.
what are they even made out of at this point? Like when you really look at ingredients for like Cheetos, Fritos.
I'm afraid to look.
Yeah. I'm afraid to
The thing is, it's like the older I get, and I mean, this has always been something I picked up on, but like when you eat certain things, you know if it's good or bad for you. If like 15 minutes later, you're like, I could go for a nap right about now, right?
Right.
You eat something healthy and you're like, I'm ready to take on the day. You eat a bunch of Cheez-Its and you're like, maybe I'll just stretch my legs on the couch for a quick 20.
Oh no.
Massive red flag.
Massive red flag. What was dinner like for you growing up?
So both my parents worked a lot, like crazy hours.
You seem, yeah, you're from that time period. I feel like where kids were just left alone.
So we had a babysitter when we were very young. So my mom worked. Both parents worked kind of in the retail world, but long hours, like crazy long hours. So we were either eating, if it was like the babysitter, we were eating like, chicken nuggets and French fries.
Oh, there you go.
Right? Creature of habit. If it was like mom's in town, Friday nights were pizza night, right? TGIF, we'd watch TGIF and eat pizza with like mom, dad, everybody, my brother. Sunday nights were tried to always be like a home cooked meal, right? Meatloaf or a roast or whatever. And that was always really nice. Like almost every Sunday, my mom would make like a good home cooked meal. And then I think our favorite, or my favorite at least, I was actually thinking about this last night, and my favorite was, with my dad working long hours, sometimes he'd be like, hey, we'd call, this way before texting, and he'd be like, I think I'll be home by like 8. And I'd be like, okay, is it all right if do you want to go out to dinner when you get home? And like, we're young. I'm like, I don't know, 12 or whatever, 14, if that. And he'd be like, well, that's real late. Like, you've got school tomorrow. I'd be like, come on, Dad. Like, my brother Jason, like, we want to go to dinner with you. And he'd be like, all right, we'll go to dinner. Like, where do you want to go? And it's like, wherever you want, right? Uh-huh. So then we'd go in and we'd tell the babysitter. She'd be like, what do you guys want for dinner? I'd be like, we don't want dinner with you tonight. No chicken nuggets for us at home. We're going out and get chicken nuggets out. We're going to Applebee's and getting their chicken nuggets.
Oh my God.
So like Dad would come home, we'd jump in the car, and then we'd go get dinner. And I think that was like the staple of like our dinners. A lot of those. I mean, the home cooked meals on Sundays and like whatever the babysitter made. But I remember being so excited to go have dinner with my dad because he worked crazy. We didn't see him in the morning, so it'd be nice to see him in the afternoon. Right. And my mom would travel for work, so it's like my mom would be gone 3 or 4 days a week. Yeah, way too many chicken nuggets. I'm so sorry, chickens, all of you.
Oh, I actually don't think I know where you're from.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Where are you from?
Where do you think I'm from? Where does it? I like this. So people always assume.
Like the Midwest.
Oh, I haven't gotten that one. When I tell you, you're going to be like, well, got it.
But now I'm like, your parents worked in fashion, so.
Not fashion. Okay. So my dad worked in like.
Retail.
My dad worked retail. I don't want to give away too much, but my dad worked in retail in big department stores. And my mom worked in retail, not in big department stores, but like a different type of retail.
It sounds like Jerry Seinfeld's parents.
Oh.
Like his dad worked in, I think, like a jacket department store. Okay, well, let's see. I'm only going to guess once.
Just guess once.
Yeah.
I just want to see. I mean, you said Midwest.
Right. Ohio?
Ooh.
No.
Ooh.
I don't know. Because
I used to think so highly of you.
I feel like people that, escape to LA always come from there.
Right. Okay, I buy that.
I don't know.
Like Midwest, it's like, I'm going to be a star.
Right. Or, you come to LA and you want to work on movies. I feel like it's people that had big dreams, but in little towns.
Yes.
We love the underdog stories.
We do. That's all LA is all the people in the entire world with big dreams.
Like, it's more weird when I tell people, like, I'm born and raised in California. They're like, what?
They're like, wait, that's
people
a thing?
People are from here?
This is a thing?
This is a thing. People actually were born here at some point.
All right, so I was born, there's a lot. Okay. We traveled a lot. We moved around a lot. Retail, right? So I was born in Detroit, Michigan.
Okay. And I was going to say Michigan, but then I was like, maybe Ohio.
I was literally thinking Detroit, too.
I wasn't thinking Detroit. I just...
Like Eminem might be one of my uncles, I think. Not really. So Detroit, Michigan, and then moved to Kansas City.
Oh, okay.
Detroit was like very young. Kansas City, I remember a little bit. And then from Kansas City, went to, this is where I grew up, Greensboro, North Carolina. Lived there for like 4 or 5 years. And then to Savannah, Georgia.
Oh, my.
Again, 4 or 5 years. And then Duval, Jacksonville, Florida, home of the Jacksonville Jaguars, who I still proudly rep. And then I essentially grew up there, went to school in Orlando, and came out here in 2010.
Wow.
So a Southern boy.
You got a lot. There's a lot.
But like,
a lot of flavors there.
Yeah, but like North Carolina, Georgia, Florida, north part of Florida, it's all Southern, right? So
it's like you guys started up there and made your way down.
Yeah.
You just migrated to Florida.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love that.
And then coming out here, it was like, oh, everything they say on Fox News isn't true, God, so I I came out here and, eyes were opened up to the real world and did a lot of traveling. And, I love where I grew up. I love the South, but I do think people should travel more and be more open-minded to not everything's scary that you don't understand. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
I feel like it's crazy how many people don't ever leave the country.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I try to leave the country at
Yeah,
least
you're
like
always
5 times a year.
You're always traveling. I spent like 10 days in Morocco a couple years back.
Whoa.
And when I first got there, I was like, I had my little fanny pack on and I just
that's
held
an
it tight
intense place
everywhere I went and just like held it tight and was very like, and then by like the last night, it's like drinking heavily, wandering through dark alleys at 2 a.m, no fear at all. And it's just one of those things where I'm sure that there's bad apples everywhere you go, but stereotyping is not healthy. It's not good at all.
No. Sometimes though, you do have to. Or sometimes like, I don't know, I've traveled to countries and the locals have been like, hey, like, be careful. We have pickpocketers.
Yes. Yeah, for sure.
This is a country that you gotta be pretty aware. Like, don't get too drunk and
yeah, like don't follow someone somewhere and you keep your wallet in your front pocket or whatever.
The most risque for me was Cuba. Like,
so how was that? I want to go.
It was pretty intense.
Was it?
Yeah, but great food, great people. But communist country, so it's
right.
I don't know though, because isn't Korea? No, North Korea is, not South Korea. But it was the first time I was in a communist country, and I was kind of like, it's a mess.
Yeah.
But they have like a really cool car culture there, right?
Yeah,
and all the
all the
taxis
cars
are like
literally
souped up.
No older than like 60.
Yeah, and they're all like perfect condition. Like that's something very cool.
Yeah,
I've seen all the taxis are that.
Havana, it was very cool. It was very like very alive, like very salsa dancing in the streets. I won a salsa contest in Trinidad on accident. Well,
accident.
I was like, I don't know. We went to dinner and then people were salsa dancing in the street, and then I was like, oh, I'm gonna go down there, and then they pulled me up on stage and we're like, you're the winner.
You're like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
Win.
The other kind of funny thing about when you went there and us learning how communist it was that they didn't let you use the internet, and we didn't think about that.
Yeah, there's like no internet.
So I like sent her all the social media stuff in an email, and then she couldn't access any of it.
Yeah, there's like no internet, no toilet seats.
How does that work? Standing or kneeling, like crouching?
I mean, you can still sit on it, but you know how we have.
It's just the rim.
Yeah, that's all it is.
Yeah.
The way your eyes just went, you gave me that little like they kind of opened for a split second. You're like, yeah, Jeff, just the rim.
That's what I was using for like 10 days.
I'd be like, I'm gonna fall in.
Yeah, I definitely thought that a few times.
That does sound
a
like
lot of mosquitoes.
Funny Fox News propaganda that the communists want to take our toilet seats away.
Oh
Right?
God. Oh God.
Yeah.
Not our toilet seats.
But for what their country is, I definitely have a lot of respect for the people and how they're all just trying to survive, just get through each day. Definitely, every interaction ended up being like someone try to sell us something or try to, be like, oh, I'll give you a tour for like this many.
Hustling.
Yeah, it was everyone was hustling.
That's the game.
But, they weren't like too pushy. They were
Right.
very good at just talking. I was like, wow, you guys would be great car salesmen in America. But
Yeah.
it's also like, I think everyone thought it was going to be super hard to get there, and I just had one layover.
You had to get like a special visa?
You just pay $75 for the visa.
That's it.
That's it.
And can people still go there?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's cool.
Like I just saw Ari Shafir saying he's going there, and I DM'd him. He never saw it, but I was like,
hurtful.
Dude, same. Because he's like, everyone's trying to tell me I can't go to Cuba. Well, he's like trying to explain the process of how he's going to get there. I'm like, I literally just went through this on social media. But yeah, it was.
All right, it's on my bucket list.
Yeah. But yeah, definitely one of those places. Keep your fanny pack pretty close to you.
Close to the chest.
Yeah, but it's also like super cheap. Have a lot of recommendations if you do go.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna hit you up on that.
What's your favorite memory from your childhood?
Oh, I don't know. Let me think. I've got a few, but
Well, I'm curious about this, like, because I've always been in love with movies and movie making. Were you always like, was there ever a movie that you can remember as a kid that you were like, I want to make these kind of movies or be in these kind of movies?
like Back to the Future,
Nice.
right? It's just
Yeah.
like such a fun, cool movie. Doesn't try too hard, right? It just works.
Yeah.
It's just fun. All the actors are great, and then you have a little bit of everything. Great cinematography, great stunts, cool hair and makeup, the soundtrack, the music, the funny one-liners, the constant callbacks,
Right.
and then obviously once you get into like the trilogy, it's just like so many sequels are like massive callbacks, and you're like, ugh. But in Back to the Future, you're like, oh,
Right.
and you're excited because it's something about it works. Robert Zemeckis, the director, fantastic director. Forrest Gump, Sully, which is somehow like one of the best, most intense movies.
I don't think I've seen that.
Or is it Sully or is it? Yeah, I think it's called Sully. It's Tom Hanks, and it's where he lands the plane on the river, the Hudson.
Yeah, the Hudson River.
The Hudson. Yeah. There's like this part in there where they're like, head down, hands down, or something, right? And they keep repeating it, and like the way like Clint Eastwood like edited that, or however his editor did, and they did, you're like grabbing onto the side of your chair. But yeah, for sure, Back to the Future. But to answer your question,
Oh, yeah.
I remember as a kid, my dad had a camera. So this is actually, I'm going to two-part story here. Very sad. So my dad passed away a few years ago, and amazing dad. Nothing bad to say about him. Did not have any sort of like crazy traumatic shit happen that like ruined me for life. He set me up to like be respectful, how to treat women, how to be a hard worker, all the things, all the things, right? So when he passed, I had, as one would, some sort of breakdown. And I thought, okay, well, like, I need to make him proud, right? And the way it was like I needed to make him proud was I needed to make a video to show like at his memorial, and I needed to edit together like home movies that we had kind of looked at over the years a little bit here and there. But I was in Florida, and I had all the home movies downloaded, like digitized years before, and on a hard drive here in LA. I called my very close friend who you met, Brent. He was one of the associate producers on Butterfly. He's from Mainstream. I've slowly been pulling him in. And he's like, this isn't so bad. And I'm like, yeah, man, we got food on set too, baby. It's just like Mainstream. So he goes to my house. He gets the hard drive. He mails it to me. I have like 2 overnights. I have like 2 days before my dad's memorial. And I remember sitting there and editing together, going through all these clips. And you want to talk about like emotional damage. You're like in tears, full thing of whiskey, 20. Actually, I wasn't drinking because I knew I had to finish this. So I didn't drink a drink until after. And then after that was like, but before that, yeah, it was like not even the move. But before that, it was just editing. And I'm going through all these home videos, and I'm realizing like I was very fortunate how I was raised in my family and home life, but my dad was always filming. He always had his camera. And then there were a lot of times where I was filming, where I'd grab the camera from him. The video, I'll send it to you later, and you will hate me for watching it because it's really good.
Yeah.
I can't watch it except maybe once every like 2 years because it puts me down hard. But, that would probably be my best memory, was him always with that camera. And I always tell people this story that like, oh, I've been, in front of the camera and then filming and acting and directing and making home videos and stuff and editing when I was like 8 years old, VHS tape to VHS tape, right? way before digital. That's how I would, edit things together. But now that I'm thinking about it, it's like I probably got this from him because he always had the camera on, and then watching these home videos and realizing, actually, this is very important, realizing, and this didn't occur to me until like 5 years ago. I did a documentary. I'll tell you that a whole nother time. Okay. A racing documentary. I'll tell you 10 seconds of it. I'm on like my third. I'm inceptionizing this story. So Kyle, who co-wrote Hopeless, co-wrote Broken Butterfly, and my right-hand man, my creative partner and everything, we did this documentary called The Pursuit of Speed. Amazing documentary about this 17-year-old kid racing for Super Trofeo Lamborghini. Crazy. We followed him for a whole season. Absolutely insane documentary. And we premiered it massive, like 200 person at AMC theaters in Century City, right? Mm-hmm. So when we're doing the edit, we realized, 4 years ago, we realized that based off of how we edited something, we could fully manipulate the audience. And like, that, right? Like we all know that that's like a thing, right? But like it fully occurred to us that we were like putting the pieces exactly where we wanted them to go. So we're in the theater, and I know when they're going to laugh, when they're going to gasp, when the entire theater is going to go dead silent, when we're going to start to hear people tear up. Crazy documentary. So I applied that same thing to obviously Hopeless, Broken Butterfly, everything else. But this is like all coming to me right now. This is not pre-thought. I'm like coming to a realization. Now that I think about it, I think probably the first time I successfully implemented that would have been my dad's memorial video. Mm-hmm. But I did it subconsciously. I didn't do it because I was trying to manipulate people. I did it because I wanted to make him so proud and make my mom proud and my brother proud and everyone proud of that I had value, right? Like that's what we're all here for. We're all here to like show the world that we have value, show ourselves that we have value, right? Like it's me versus me, right? Like I don't care about what anyone else thinks. I do, but I don't want to let myself down. So this is like, do I pay you by the hour for therapy sessions or how does this work? But like, so that was the first time I did it. It was because I just wanted to make this amazing video that had no fat in it, that just showed the exact moments, and it went from one moment to the next moment to the next moment. So you laughed a little, because you do laugh a little, you tear up a little bit, everything else. And I think that all came from watching my dad with the camera growing up. Wow. Okay. So like this whole time, 39 years old, I've thought that like, I got it. I'm a filmmaker because my father never put the camera down. Yeah. First time this has ever come to, that's crazy. Wow. And then I would pick the camera up and I would film stuff, but it was always him with the camera, cause like they have the camera and then they're saying funny stuff and they're like, oh, do this. And what did Santa get you? And wow. Okay. Yeah. Just let me know who I make the checkout to and I'll see you next week at the same time.
Yeah. We could do this again. Well, then I guess
that's crazy.
This kind of, I'm going to ask the question anyways, but what's a life event that shaped you?
Oh, so that would have been one. This one I have the answer for it. And Holly, forgive me, but like we've been working together since 2017. You haven't put me on your podcast. So Lumi gets this story. I was going to text her this morning and be like, should I wait? Should I say this for you? But she's on a shoot and I can retell it on hers anyway. So 2017, I'm shooting a bunch of stuff for Marlboro, right? Like they're flying me all over the world. Wow. It's pretty cool. Yeah. Helicopters. Also, it was like, ooh, it was like crazy stuff, right? Like traveling for 2 weeks on end. Mm-hmm. I can't stress, like Marlboro money is crazy money, right? Like private jet level stuff and everything, hanging off of snowmobiles with like gimbal cameras, and it was absolutely wild. All this can only be used online and in other countries, right? None of this can be used in the United States. So I'm doing all that. One more side story. I eventually told my mom I'm like shooting for Marlboro, and she's like, "But that's not good. Like cigarettes aren't good." Da, 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 da. And then I was like, "Well, this is this is how much they're paying me." And she was like, "Well, it is very expensive in LA." I kind of got the same thing almost when I told her about Broken Butterfly and everything else. She was like, "Well, as long as you're following your passion." Okay, so the producer of that, good guy named Brendan, of the Marlboro stuff. He's best friends with Holly's now husband.
Okay.
Holly's husband is a trip. The producer's a trip. They're peas in a pod. So, hey man, my friend's wife or my friend's girlfriend, like she does this adult stuff and she's looking for someone who can come in and do like really high end, like cinematic stuff, like 8K red, super crazy stuff. Do you want to do it? I'm like, no, dude, no, I don't want to do adult stuff. All right, cool. I'll let her know. A few weeks goes by. Hey man, so she hit me up again. And I'm like, I know you'd be perfect for this. Like, can I just give her your number? And I was like, dude, I don't, like,
Right.
I'm not interested. He's like, will you just talk to her for me? Just talk to her, just please. This guy's got me an absurd amount of work. So I'm like, yeah, I'll take the call. Talk to Holly. Hey, my name's Holly Randall. I'm a photographer. My mom was a photographer. Like, this is what I'm doing.
Did you know who Suze Randall was?
No, I had no
you
idea.
didn't know.
now I'm like, I remember seeing all your photos when I was a little boy, you know, like that kind of stuff, right? Suze literally shot everything. And then even Holly, you know, probably a lot of her stuff I saw growing up as a good Southern Christian boy. So Holly, she's telling me all this. And then she's like, you know, I got this new thing we're doing for Twisties, right? So we're doing the Twisties Treat of the Month. And I shoot for Twisties all the time, but like for this Treat of the Month, we want it to look great. And I have access to these like really nice 8K red cameras. And I've got like the best lighting guy, Sean Rivera, and I've got like the best crew. And I the photos are good, but like we can't figure out the video. And I need someone who can come in and like take this to the next level. And I'm like, great. No, thank you.
Wow.
Hell no, thank you.
Oh my
So
God.
then that's that. We hang up. 2-3 weeks later, calls me again. Holly calls me again. And I'm like, this story's about to get crazy. And I'm like, hey, like, what's going on? She's like, please, like, can you please, because what's happening is like they're doing shoots and then they're looking at the footage and they're like, this isn't working.
Yeah.
So then I get the
Just
call
something
again.
that's just
Right.
not adding up.
And I'm like, yeah, I'm just not interested. And she's like, we'll pay you like whatever you want. Like, I was like, listen, I appreciate it, but like, no, thank you.
Did you just not want
I
to
didn't-
have your name on something like from adult yet?
I didn't want to shoot naked girls.
You're like, I'm not.
I was
I'm
like,
not doing that.
I don't put those away, young lady. You know, like I was a good
prude.
Southern. Yes, I was a good Southern boy, baptized, went to Sunday, like all the things, right?
Right.
Like I was, like Marlboro blood money was as far as I went at this point. So then another month goes by. She calls me again. She's like, okay, here's the deal. Like I need you to do this. I've seen your portfolio. I've seen you've done. Brandon was showing me some of the stuff you shot I shot some like swimsuit stuff for this company. A good friend of mine owns a Cantique LA. She has a store downtown and makes great swimsuits and clothing and all sorts of stuff. Chelsea, she's amazing. So she sees that. Brendan's like leaking her some of the Marlboro dailies and it's just like the most insane. I mean, anyone could make that footage look insane because it's just you're like on ranches filming calves be birthed in the rain and snow at 6 a.m. as the sun like crests a mountain, right? It's like anyone would make that look good. So she's like, you've got to do this. And I was like, I'm just not comfortable shooting nudity. She's like, you won't have to shoot the nudity. I'm like, well, what does that mean? She was like, you would just shoot the intro. So like you wouldn't have to shoot anything. You'd shoot their intro and then you could go home. And I was like, okay, what is that? She's like, they kind of like dance around and do a little, you know, and I was like, okay. And I was like, okay, what's the rate? And she was like, what's your rate? And I told her, and I told her my like almost Marlboro blood money rate, almost. Okay, I'll pay it. And I was like, oh, well, I guess I'm doing this. So I film my first one. And I can't remember her name, but she was the treat of the year that year. Tall, redhead. I always forget her name, and I should remember her name. So do that. And then Holly's like, so Jeff, and I have a photo of Holly and I on that day, which is a good photo. So she's like, Jeff, I know I said no nudity, but like it just looks so good. And I know my guys can't get it because once you leave, the camera goes on tripod, right? Like I'm on like gimbal and all that crazy stuff. Back when I like didn't have to use the vest and I had like more like less lower back problems. So she's like, well, what if like she's on the couch and she just kind of like takes her top off and we just see some breasts. And I was like, Holly, this isn't what we agreed upon. But okay. Because like I was starting to feel like you show up on set, you're like adult, was just a bunch of people like, and then you show up and you're like craft service and like, everyone's like on their phone laughing and
no one's like, no one's got a boner even.
Literally. So I'm like, all right, okay, cool. Film some boobs. And then I go home. And that went on, that like exact formula went on for like almost a year, where like I would get to, I think maybe within 6 months I got to like full nudity, but then I would leave.
Right.
And obviously, a treat of the month has.
And Twisties isn't like sex.
But it has, the single player mode at the end of the video, right? The ones that I was doing had single player mode. So I would leave before that. Okay. And it would get to the point to where, and I didn't know this till later, but I guess the girls would be like, what, like, why does he leave? Like, what is the thing? And I would leave. So I would show up, I'd be there for like 4 or 5 hours. I'd film all the intro and then I would leave and then single player mode would happen. And like, that was it. And that went on for like a very long time. And then eventually, and this was just Holly breaking me down. And then eventually, it turned into, okay, well, I want these to look better. And I could see that when I leave, like you guys are totally screwing this up. So I'll film single player mode. And once I did that, there was no going back. Holly was like that Dave Chappelle skit. She's like, gotcha, right? Gotcha. So she's like, I got you. And then all of a sudden, so Brazzers wants us to start shooting, and this would be guy girl, and and then this, and then that, and they'll pay you your rate too, and then that turned into, jumping off to adult time for like 2 years, which was like, not that those sets, like Brie Mills is absolutely amazing, but like and she wasn't on a lot of those sets, but some of those sets were like, I would say it was like going through like boot camp, right? Because it was just like,
it was always improvised.
Yeah.
They literally would send me like, here's an idea. And then they're like, but you come up with the lines. I was like, oh. Yeah,
not a lot of structure, So, and then here I am. So it was really like, once I greenlit the Brazzer stuff, that there was like kind of no going back at that point. Yeah. I did some stuff for some other companies, shot a bunch of stuff with Seth, which that was always, that was fun. I really enjoy working with him.
Have you done anything for Lucid, or is he?
Yeah, I did a bunch of stuff with Lucid, and then 2 of his movies that are probably going to be up for a bunch of nominations this year. And, but yeah, now I'm full blown in it. And now I'm on the other side where people are like, you shoot that? I'm like, dude, it's literally, it's not what it is at all. And then when they're like, wait, and you directed 2 movies? You have 2 movies? And I'm like, and I show them the trailer and they're like, what? Right? Like as soon as they see the trailer, like, well, this isn't, where's the girl stuck in the washing machine? And I'm like, oh, that's not in the trailer. That's later though. Yeah.
Right.
So
I can't put that in a trailer.
So yeah, like that was what changed me, was the Holly being very persistent. And still to this day, Holly is very persistent. If I start to slip up on anything, she's like,
she knows
text,
what she wants.
email, phone call. Yeah, absolutely. And it rubs off on me to where it's like, all right, well, she trusts me, I trust her. And we've done a pretty good job of like doing some cool stuff together. She's
got good intuition, I think. Because
she does.
I don't feel like she would do that for just anyone,
She would not.
No.
She's been very good to me. She's been my mentor in this side. Like, yeah, everything I've done, I owe to her. Like, obviously, Hopeless wouldn't have happened without her. Broken Butterfly would not have happened without her. Xsweet, the list goes on and on and on. All because she refused to literally find someone else. And she was like, this is the guy I want. Yeah. And
they always say too, like, when a director and cinematographer have that relationship, they always work together. Like, I think Wes Anderson has never worked with a different cinematographer. I forget his cinematographer's name though, but Wes Anderson, like, that's his guy.
Yeah. No. I mean, we work very, very, very well together, and she has my back, catches things I miss. I have her back. And ultimately, like, we're both perfectionists, you know, like we want like the best thing that we can get, because it's like, why not, right? Why half-ass it or whatever?
Yeah, I get that.
So yeah, Holly Randall.
Holly Randall, shout out to Holly. Well, this wouldn't be happening either without Holly Randall, because she lets us use her studio.
Nice.
So, Broken Butterfly. Are we allowed to talk about that?
So we can talk about it. You know, so today's the 15th of November, right?
Yeah.
Like when we're filming this. Otherwise, we'd be having a different conversation.
Yeah.
But next Wednesday and Thursday is the XBiz nominations party and AVN nominations party, which I love how XBiz is like, here's our date. And then like 2 weeks later, AVN's like, oh yeah, and here's ours, right? Like the next night.
Oh, God.
So
Well,
they're,
I mean,
so they're back to back.
that's kind of nice.
I will text you both nights when you get your nomination, because you will. I remember last year being at the XBiz one and like Lumi Ray, and I was like, yes, I was so excited. I was so hyped.
Those were the only nominations I ever wanted for both XBiz and AVN, was Best Actress, I think.
So this one would be Best Supporting, right? Which I cannot. Okay, so I worked on Iris with Seth, and we had Blake Blossom. Fantastic. She did one scene in there that I was watching, and I was like, okay, you can pull it off. You're outstanding. So I think Jules would be up against her for Best Actress. That's going to be a tough one, because Blake gave her heart out, but Jules, like, what she did in Broken Butterfly was fantastic.
Yeah. And just the script, I don't know. It's pretty much like a mind fuck the whole time.
The whole time. It starts off, well, real quick. For you, Best Supporting, I don't see any. There's no way. Like we will be fully robbed.
We will be robbed.
We will be fully robbed. So to be clear, we're advertising with both companies this year, right?
Right.
Because I think that's important for them.
Yeah.
We did the screening, and representatives of both came.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, your performance in Broken Butterfly. So I remember it was like, okay, well, we have to have something for Lumi in there. And originally Kyle wrote this like barely a paragraph. And I was like, no, bro, like what? No, absolutely not. And I was like that, like, cause in my head I had this.
Wouldn't even charge you. I'd be like, sure, I'll just show up for 5 minutes.
So let me ask you, if you get an award, do I get my money back? Is that a deal?
No.
Okay. Do I at least get invited to your next dinner party?
Yes.
Okay, I'll take that.
I don't know. I've never hosted one, but
You should.
I feel like it would be fun to do one here.
I would 100% be there.
Yeah.
So I get the script, and I'm like, cause Kyle's working on pieces of it. I'm working on pieces of it. And I'm like, no, this needs to be like a whole thing. And I had this in my head. So the whole movie is absolutely chaotic, right? And it starts off, and this was on purpose, and I've had to explain this to people. It frustrates me that I have to explain it to people, but the movie starts off very, very corny on purpose. It's shot corny. Yeah. It's edited corny. The dialogue.
When you described the intro to me, I was
acting,
like, yeah, that makes sense.
Everything about it starts off. So when you watch it, right, this comes back to like manipulating your audience. And the trailer is like the prelude to this, right? The trailer starts off so corny, and then all of a sudden it twists. So the movie's the same thing, right? Trailer was inspired by the movie. So it starts off, you let your guard down, and then all of a sudden you're like,
oh, it's not that kind of movie?
Like, what in the world am I watching? And then you're just pure chaos the entire time. So all this is happening, and it's like, what's real? What's not real? Spoiler alert coming up, like, is she seeing things? Is she not seeing things? Are these things actually happening? Are these people actually real? Is she actually real? All this is happening. Like, can she even get hurt? Are there consequences, right? So there needed to be a moment in the movie that validates reality and validates that there are real consequences, right? And that's where you came in. And I was like, I need Lumi to be vulnerable, light work, and I need for her to be the rock, the foundation, the grounding that shows and tells our audience that like there are real consequences here. And it comes at a turning point in the movie where Juliet's either about to end up in a lot of trouble or maybe she'll get through it. Who knows? So we have this like 3.5 minute almost monologue of you that we only did 2 takes of. Not even 2 takes. We did 1 take of the first 70% of it. And then we did the second take of the last like 50%. So I only got like 20% of overlap. So I had to be very careful on where I cut, how I cut them together, because I didn't have the whole thing back in front. And I remember afterwards you were like, no, I could do it again and I could give you tears. I was like, no, because your character was past that. You were stronger than that. You've cried all your tears, all that. But I remember reaching out to you and being like, okay, gonna give you a massive monologue, kind of heavy, very heavy. Take a read of this. Let me know if you're comfortable with this. If not, I'll dial it back. And in my head, I was like, no way she's gonna say yes. Like literally, no way she's gonna green light this.
My personal life has, I don't know if I've ever really shared with you like what I've gone through, but that was like,
it hit home.
I just was like, I can pull from this.
Okay.
I mean, that's what also makes a good actor is.
Yeah. And
it's pretty much just reliving.
and it worked. It came through on camera. So at the bare minimum, the movie's worth watching for her monologue. And once again, it was like, put camera on Lumi and just talk, and camera just rolls. I did cut it up a little bit, but like it just rolled. We did do 2 cameras. So you go for 3.5 minutes and Jules has 1 line. So what's the point of it all? And that's it. That's all you have to feed off of, right? And she's just like staring at you the whole time. Yeah, right?
that was a little hard. She is a good actress.
Well, my direction to her was like, because...
Yeah. I feel like for her, it was probably just like, what do I do?
So like what her character has gone through up until that moment to get her to that point, right? Yeah. She is fully not there. Like she's there, but there's no one home because of all the crazy stuff that's happening. So that's why it was so important to have you ground this. And I remember talking to her beforehand. She's like, should I be reacting? Should I put my hand out? And I was like, no, you literally, lights aren't home. You are not sleeping. Yeah. You're losing your mind. And you're just trying to get any sort of answer you can. You're so confused that you're asking your therapist assistant for like advice and therapy, right? So she played off. Unfortunately, it didn't give you much to play off of, but she played her character to the T of what I asked for. But your performance in that was fantastic. It grounds everything. So then the audience is like, oh, like people can get hurt. People can lose their lives. Like this might not end happy. Yeah. And then of course, like it ends the way it ends, which
you guys will have to watch.
But yeah, Broken Butterfly is, that was a crazy one. Our second movie. I'm so proud of that one. So we find out next week nominations wise. And I'm hoping that, the cast gets sweeping nominations because I think you all deserve it. Seth had literally the smallest role in it, but he killed it.
Oh,
Seth was like, what do you need me to do? And I was like, dude, just look creepy. He was like, say less.
Say less.
And he did it. He did it great. He always delivers. This is my first time like directing him. That was great. You obviously delivered. Jules delivered. Casey Calver, amazing. I was like, after Hopeless, I was like, so Casey and Lumi are in everything I do for the rest of my life, no matter what it is, I find a role for them. She did an excellent job. Had Lexi Luna in there. Lexi and I had worked together on some Xsweet promo stuff, which is the new company Holly and I are doing. Yeah. And Lexi was fantastic. And then Cody, Cody's my favorite. Sorry, Seth, I love you, but Cody's he's great. Like Cody, he's always down, and he it's interesting. He asks the questions that I'm like, wait, no, just do this. And he's like, yeah, but why would my character? Right. And I'm like, all right. And then I see the difference, right? Like he's asking me these things because they're important for him to find, his inspiration, his path. And then I it's like, me, I'm like, go. But then he asks this, I take the time, I give him the explanation, and then I see him
And he
deliver it on
delivers,
camera.
yeah.
And I'm like, gosh, you're good. Okay, so but yeah, Butterfly's great. We find out next Wednesday and Thursday about nominations. I'm really hoping that it does well. My ego fully on top. I'm really looking for writing, editing. I think I put it up for best directing for an individual piece of content or individual. That would be cool too. I mean, just to get the nominations would be neat. But last year we did Hopeless, and that one was like,
We also got done filming it right before the cutoff.
It was the same thing with this. Like Hopeless went up at like 4 p.m. the day of the cutoff, and this one went up at like 8 p.m. the day of the cutoff. And both times Holly is like, Jeff, I will kill you if you do this again. And I was like, I can't, like, how am I going to shoot you guys running in the ocean in January? Like, we had to shoot it in August. We turned the edit around in 2 weeks. This one was just too massive of a project. We had to keep pushing it because this was a massive cast, and to like coordinate everyone's schedules, and then to coordinate the crew, because there's certain people on the crew that like, there were certain days where it's like, I have to have Joel, I have to have Sean Rivera, I have to have this person.
That's also
And it's like, if you make those sacrifices, the film, it comes through on the film, right? You know who, your sous chefs are and the people in the kitchen are and prep and everything. And you need them to be like, you need your team, right? Yeah. So Hopeless, you weren't there at AVN or Xsweet, but we got this. I brought this in. So because you haven't held this yet.
No.
So.
Oh my God.
So we got this at XBiz, and I was with Holly, and like Cody came up on stage and Casey came up on stage, and when they said it,
heavy.
I know, right? When they said it, I literally couldn't believe it. I was like in pure shock.
I woke up because I was out of the country.
I think I tried to FaceTime you,
Yeah,
or I was like, Cody,
I woke
FaceTime
up to,
her.
like, so many notifications.
I was like, someone FaceTime Lumi. Oh, that's pretty cool, right?
Yeah. I always forget that, like, because it happens in the beginning of the year. I'm like, oh, 2024.
Yeah, right. So like this one's 2025, but
yeah,
it's pretty cool, right?
So cool.
It was a lot of hard work, and I think it was cool to get like the recognition from them and our peers and everybody else that it was neat.
Yeah. Well, yay, thank you. It's so nice. Do we have producer questions?
Yes, we do. Real quick, do you think that the girl you did the treat of the year with was Molly Stewart?
Yes, it was Molly Stewart.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was Molly Stewart.
Okay. I was like trying to find it. I was like, okay, I think this person matches to this.
Yeah, it was Molly Stewart.
Okay. So I kind of have a selfish question. Sometimes when we have like guests that like, do directing, and I want to learn from them.
Sure.
So you worked a lot of like mainstream stuff. And, I was kind of like, had an ignorant thought initially when you were talking off camera. And I was like, oh, I bet you brought so much to the adult film industry. But I was wondering, did you learn anything from the adult industry? Like maybe they taught you something.
A lot. I'm still learning.
Yeah. What did you like? Yeah. What did you learn? Like, what's a like a lesson you learned from working in the adult industry?
Am I directing this to you or to Lumi?
To the audience.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because maybe there's inspiring filmmakers in the audience.
Yeah.
Never give up. No, I'm joking. Right? No. You're always learning, right? I was just telling you that story about Cody, where I was like, "All right, dude, Cody, just say the lines, baby. We got to move." But it was like, no, I'm learning. I'm learning that like by respecting the actor and giving him what he's requesting, he then can give me what I'm requesting back and a better performance. And I'm sure I very much so could have been like, Cody, dude, I don't have time. I know you got this. And I could have done that.
Right.
I wouldn't have got the performance that I got, right? So you're always learning. I think that I've learned a lot, in working on this side of people's good sides and their bad sides as far as which way to shoot them. Like that is a thing. Not everyone will say it, but some people will be like, I have a good side, I have a bad side. And it doesn't mean that like they don't look good from one side. It just means that like they look great from this side, they look good from the other side. Patience. You have to have patience. But at the same time, like you got to move. You got to, like, time is money, right? Like you have X amount of dollars, you have X amount of pages, you have all these people, you have the cameras and the crew and the locations and everything else. It's like, are you there to have fun and hang out? Are you there to just like chit chat and look at TikToks? No, it's like go. Finish a scene, next scene's up. Shoot, go. Don't waste time, right? Like party later, hang out later. You know, my sets, you know, people know that there's not, I mean, not that like we're not laughing and having fun. Like we do, we celebrate, we laugh and we enjoy moments, but like we are going because there is a lot to capture and there is no time. And ultimately the only thing that matters is the end result, right? Nothing else matters. But you make sure that you have a good end result, a great story, and a story worth telling, and not just like something to make something. And trust your instinct, trust your gut, but also know that like if you are the director or the producer or whatever your role is, like, you know, it falls on you. So if it's successful, congratulations. If it fails, you need to take that too, right? Like I've worked with other filmmakers that they place blame, they point fingers. That you can't do that. Like you got to take the blame because ultimately it's your fault. Like whatever happened, right?
Right. I do. Okay. You said something that I wanted to do a quick follow up on. Something that I struggle with is when I'm like running a set is I only have two modes. Either we're like a million miles an hour, or it's like, okay, I kind of get the vibe and then it's more of a relaxed setting. How do you balance, you know, the, hey, we got to go and get this done, and also celebrating like small moments? Does that make sense?
We don't do it until the end, at least two things I've done for him.
Okay.
Well, I think that we...
well, you're also, I don't know, like anytime I've done a scene, again, where there's like a long monologue or heavy, like that scene, you're very good at just making sure everyone feels like they delivered. You're like, wow, that was exactly what I needed. That was, I don't know, make us feel appreciated throughout the day. You're not like, all right, bitch.
Yeah. Let's go. You know, it's funny. And Holly does this too. We both joke about it all the time. Someone will do something. Maybe it's someone making a poster for us, right?
Yeah.
And I will not say, I love this, I like that, that's great, that's perfect. That I will literally just be like, this needs to move, that needs to change, that's too small. Like you're not going to get positive feedback because I'm not here to pat you on the back. I guess maybe I didn't get positive feedback growing up. I have no idea.
You got the job already, so you're good enough to get the job. Just make these changes.
And then it's like, you know what? Like when you're done and everything's done, I'm going to be like, fantastic poster, right? And then I'm going to post it, and then we're going to blow it up on a 27x40, and we're going to share it. And like, it made it that far because it's fantastic and it's great, and it passed all the checks. And I think the same thing on set, right? Like I'm not going to, you know, you will on set. It's different. I'll be like, great job, everybody, or Lumi, fantastic performance. Or when you're like, Jeff, I can give you one more, and you want more tears, I can give you tears. I was like, nope, that was perfect. I don't want tears. Your character wouldn't have tears. Moving on, right? And like that's it, because like if I sit there and talk any longer, that's 10 seconds, and then that adds up. And next thing you know, it's the end of the night, and you're like, man, if only I had 5 more minutes to get this one more shot or to get this other angle. And that's what you're doing. You're fighting for minutes on set. But as far as your question, like the keep it chill, keep it relaxed, or keep it, it all depends, you know. Sets should be fun. Like people should be enjoying themselves, but at the same time, you know, things need to be very serious because there's a lot of expensive stuff around. You have asked for, you know, 5 to 20 people to give their time for you. You might be paying them, but like they're giving you their time. And then most importantly, you're asking for the audience to give you their time, right? Like watch my movie. Okay, well, if I'm asking you for, you know, Hopeless or not hopeless, but like say, for example, Broken Butterfly, I'm asking you for 82 and a half minutes of your time. I don't want to like take advantage of you. I want to make sure that every step of the process, I'm not cutting corners and I'm delivering. And when you have that mindset, like I said, it's like me versus me. Like you can't cut corners, and you have to make sure everything is close to perfect as possible, with the understanding that sometimes you won't get it, and then you just have to move on. But you can't. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that answers the question. Thank you so much.
I feel like it was a terrible answer.
No.
Okay.
I was like, I'm sitting here like taking it all in. It's just like, my natural state is just like, let's get this done. You're all here because I think you're the right person for this job.
Yeah, you wouldn't be on my set if I didn't want you on my set.
Yeah, exactly.
And I have 100% fired people off my set many times in my life, even on live things where I've said, I will do it myself. Like I will take on 2 roles because I'm not going to put up with your attitude or with your laziness, or like, you're not going to move that light, then go home. I'll move the light.
Yeah.
Right.
Even like with something like this, like I had to, realize that like this is Lumi's like first time having a podcast. So I can't just be like, what do you do? We got to get stuff done, or I need you to do it like this. Like, so I kind of had to like shift and be like, okay, my main priority for like the first year is just making sure Lumi's comfortable, and then like go from there. We'll like cutting the fat. Something that the fans don't know is that like the first couple of recordings, we had like 10 or 12 hour days just to make sure we had enough time for Lumi in between episodes to be like, okay, she's relaxed. This is like a big thing that she's doing.
A diva.
And then, no, she didn't ask that. I was just wanted to like make sure about that.
Yeah.
And she's then like, now, my masseuse will be here. I need a break.
Yeah. And then now we've cut like 4 or 5 hours out of that, and then we got a little bit better. But
I mean, it's figuring out what the efficiency is, but like you're a very serious person too, right? Like when we're on set together and that camera starts rolling, like you deliver every time, no matter what it is. And then there's like laughing in between takes and stuff like that, and we're joking. It's like, all right, let's go, and then it's go. So yeah.
My ego's so fluffed after today.
It should be.
Okay, where can the fans find you?
So my Instagram is @jjh.mov. I have a website, but it's not even worth going to because I just don't update it anymore. But also Xsweet.io. And then both of our movies are currently available at hollyrandall.com. So Hopeless. And Broken Butterfly. And then Xsweet is the new company that Holly, myself, and a few others started. I'm the chief creative officer of it. Yeah,
what
right.
Title.
Super fan. I have a desk and an office and everything, and I make decisions, and people ask me questions, and I'm like,
big boy pants.
Yeah, I'm like, what's for lunch? Someone get me a sandwich. No, not really, but jjh.mov would be my Instagram, and if you haven't seen Hopeless, you definitely want to watch Hopeless, because Lumi and Casey, absolutely, that was one of the best things ever. And then if you have time, watch Broken Butterfly. She's got an amazing performance in that. And we'll find out very soon about nominations, but I'm feeling confident.
Yeah. I think by the time this comes out, we'll know. So
yeah.
And you guys know where to find me. So thank you for tuning in. And thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yay. Okay.